So here's the staff photo from Liverpool Football Club. You've got the team manager there, obviously a very important job. But here, this is a group of mathematicians. These guys are the unsung heroes of Liverpool football team. And it's their job to make the team as lucky as possible. So please join me in welcoming Tim Waskett. And that's you in that photo, Tim.
Yeah, that's me just there. Yeah.
All right, so how on earth do you go about changing a football game into something to do with numbers?
So the primary currency that every football game is based on is goals, obviously. That's the most important thing. And it's our job to turn every action on the pitch, every pass, every throw-in, every tackle, every shot, into a goal probability.
And I think we've actually got an image from your team. So this is showing you the darker the colour, the darker the red, the more likely you are to score. I mean, from there, it's pretty easy,
yes,
right?
Yes, exactly.
Score pretty easily from there.
So this is taken from literally hundreds of thousands of shots through major leagues all over the world. And by looking at where the shots take place, how often they became a goal gives us a probability of a shot from a similar situation ultimately ending as a goal.
Now, I understand that there's a little game that you play with all of this, of trying to guess what the math says is the probability of a particular shot going in.
Yes.
So I think we have a little clip.
So we call this the expected goals game.
OK. So what game are we watching here?
So this is a friendly between Tranmere Rovers and Liverpool. This is a pre-season friendly.
And you pause the footage just...
Yep.
So we've got he's about to do a header.
So he's about to do a header, and he's right in front of the goal there, very close. So what do we think the probability of this shot turning into a goal is?
What does the maths calculate the chances of this turning into a goal?
So we have
do
some
you
options.
reckon it's 50%, 75%, or 99%? OK. Shout out your answers. What do you think it is? What do you reckon the math says is the chances? Oh, 75 came out quite clearly there. Yeah. All right, what's the actual... What does the math say?
Well, the actual answer here is 99%.
Ooh. So that means, in exactly the same position, with exactly the same surroundings, if you reran this 100 times, it would only not result in a goal once.
Exactly. So 99 shots of a similar sort of position will end in a goal, and only one will get saved by the goalkeeper.
Oh, OK, all right, let's try one more. Let's try one more. We've got another clip for you. Here we go. Oh, OK, so he's much further out here.
Yeah, much further out, and he's also not central onto the goal. He's off to one side.
So we know it's going to be a lower chance.
It's going to definitely be a lower chance.
But what does the maths actually calculate it to be? So we've got some options for you. All right. Do you reckon the math says that this is 4%, 7%, or 10% chance of getting a goal? What do you reckon? Shout it out for me. 7%. Oh, everyone's going in the middle there.
Everyone's going in the middle, and you're spot on. It's actually 7%.
And let's see what actually did happen. Ah, so missed.
One of the reasons that was only 7% and not any higher was because he shot it straight at the goalkeeper.
Ah. Yeah. I mean, that's always a big mistake, don't you?
Exactly.
But it's not just about strikers that you're translating into numbers, is it?
No, exactly. So this is the easiest thing that we can do, but we can do a similar calculation for every other event on the pitch, so any time a ball is passed, for example. OK, so to help us to demonstrate this, I'd like to invite onto the stage Bertie and Jamie from a London youth team. So, Bertie and Jamie are just going to have a bit of a kickabout. Yep.
Tell us how this works, then.
So, for roughly 200 games per weekend, we get data involving every single ball touch in the game. So, the way the data is collected, every time that a player passes the ball, they'll mark it on the pitch, and they'll say this is the position on the pitch and the player who made that pass, and then there'll be somebody watching for the other team making their passes, so two people will be going backwards and forwards, marking up all of these events. So roughly every second or so there's a new pass, so it's pretty frantic.
So you just have someone there clicking. I mean, it doesn't sound like the most exciting way to watch football.
No, well, thankfully it's not us who has to do this work. We actually have a data supplier who provides us with these data, these files for us.
OK, Bertie and Jamie, thank you very much for your help there. Thank you. So what do you end up with once you've done all of this?
So for every game we get approximately 2,000 ball touch events, and that tells us the position of the player who makes the pass. But what that doesn't tell you is where all of the other players are on the pitch at that moment.
But you can get hold of those numbers?
So we can. For the Premier League games, we get what we call tracking data. And so this is a set of cameras all around the stadium, and that's monitoring the position of all of the players, so 22 players, plus the position of the ball. and it does that for 25 frames a second for the full 90 minutes. So you end up with approximately 1.5 million data points.
That is a lot of numbers. And in fact, we've got here the gigantic spreadsheet, essentially.
So this is just one game.
And you're watching a game of football here, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Through numbers. OK, so an interesting, I mean, maybe less exciting than watching Match of the Day.
Well, it depends on your perspective, yes.
But you're not just collecting these numbers, are you? What do you do with them?
So this data can give us a goal value for every position and for every player on the pitch.
And what does it end up looking like? I think we've got a little
Yep, we have a little
example.
animation.
OK, so tell us what we're looking at here.
So this is what we call pitch control. So you can see the players are in the circles there, and the arrows represent the direction and speed that they can travel in.
And you've got a blue team and a red team.
Yep, so the red team here is actually Liverpool, and the areas in red are places that the Liverpool players can get to sooner than the players who are in blue.
Ah, based on how quickly people run.
Yes.
And based on where the ball is.
Exactly. So, for example, the ball in this particular example is that yellow dot there, and if this player, who is currently in possession of the ball, this is number 10, this is Sadio Mane, his best option at this stage is to probably pass to one of these red areas, and in fact he ends up passing the ball up into this red zone here to be picked up by player 66, which is Trent Alexander-Arnold.
So this is a real game, and we can play it on watching the game through this heat map here. So this thing here, what's this telling us?
So this is what I was talking about before, about turning everything into a goal probability. So this value now, 1.3%, this is the probability that a goal will be scored with the ball in this position within the next 15 seconds.
It's quite hard from there, really.
From there, yes, because you're so far back. You've got a long way to go before you reach the goal.
It's very accurate. But we can play on this game and see see how it evolves. So the ball does get passed over.
Yep. It gets successfully received.
Still not a very high chance of scoring a goal from there.
No, but now Trent Alexander-Arnold, his best option is to run into this position here. So he's now dribbling the ball forwards.
So are you using this information to look at what did happen and work out what should have happened?
So we use this in a number of ways. The main way we use this is to evaluate player performance after the game.
And in this particular game, if we play on one more time, what was the result of this sequence?
So if we pause it right about now, you can see Trent Alexander-Arnold now has the ball very close to the goal. He's in a good position, but his best option now is to pass into this red area here, where it can either be received by Mane or Shaqiri, who is number 23 down here. One of these two players is most likely to get to this red zone, and in actual fact what happens in this particular situation is that Mane receives the ball around about here, and he scores a goal.
Which is exactly what you want.
Exactly.
So are you using this stuff to just analyse your team, or are you using it to analyse other teams too?
So the advantage of this is we see all of the players at the same time, which means that we can analyse all of the players within the Premier League and a large number of players in all sorts of other leagues around the world using the ball touch event data, and that gives us some really good information on which players are doing well and who we might be able to sign in the future.
Ultimately, to give you the best chance possible at beating your opponent.
Exactly.
Amazing. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.